Hi, my name is Alyssa Vassione, and I'm going to be talking about the waning of Pax Americana. So, what is Pax Americana? The term Pax refers to a secure and stable political and economic order backed by the principles of prevailing military power. It often emerges after a significant battlefield victory and is maintained through foreign interventions, deterrent threats, and economic and cultural exchange. Though the role of Pax Americana has changed through the centuries, post-World War II Pax Americana has referred to how the U.S. provides relative security and stability, allowing nations to interact peacefully worldwide. The U.S. has been able to maintain this peace by enforcing overwhelming military superiority and suppressing conflicts that could threaten core U.S. interests, values, or overall stability. Prior to the dissolve of the Soviet Union in 1991, the bipolarity between superpower Soviet Union and the U.S. created much conflicts and many losses for both sides. Between facing the brink of nuclear war, millions of lives lost in Vietnam, and Soviet intervention in Afghanistan, relations between the two superpowers were pretty poor. However, the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 marked the end of the division of Germany, the collapse of the Soviet Union, and the triumph of the U.S. in the Cold War. With the Soviet Union no longer in power, the U.S. emerged as a unipolar force towards the end of the 20th century, thus referring to them as a hyperpower of the time. This meant that the U.S. was able to propel itself militarily, economically, and culturally like never before. Liberal capitalist democracy covered this unipolar order as no single state could defeat U.S. military power. However, starting in the early 90s, terrorist attacks, both home and abroad, threatened Pax Americana. Examples of these attacks include the 1993 attack on World Trade Center in New York, the 1996 airbase explosion in Saudi Arabia, and the twin attacks on the U.S. embassies in Tanzania and Kenya in 1998. Most notably, the events that occurred on September 11, 2001, where the Twin Towers were demolished by two commercial airline carriers and the Pentagon was crashed into. This marked a crippling end to the security that the U.S., who was at the height of its power, must have felt. In response to the horrifying events on 9/11, President Bush declared a war on terror, which after much dispute between policymakers ended up resulting in the Iraq War. The Iraq War cost the U.S. about $2 trillion and resulted in nearly 500,000 lives lost. Prior to the Iraq War, the U.S. was already on the decline economically due to budget deficits caused by the Vietnam War and Japan's economic miracle. Many declared this time period as the end of Pax Americana due to the rise of the rest, as it was projected that China was destined to outcompete the U.S. economically. The power shift from west to east rose questions about whether or not the U.S. could financially support the military presence necessary to uphold Pax Americana. The U.S. does have important responsibilities to promote liberal international order for political freedoms and economic openness, which was looked at as one of many broad interests of post-war presidents. President Trump, however, has taken on an America First policy in order to put the interests and security of the American people first. Especially as the U.S. capabilities have lost ground in certain areas and is no longer the world's largest exporters, it's understandable why the America First policy would make sense. The America First policy has created some backlash in the Office of Trade Representatives, however, as he has replaced multilateral agreements with bilateral ones. This included abandoning TPP in 2017. Despite us leaving, other countries such as Japan, Canada, and Mexico have moved along with trade agreement, causing the U.S. to fall behind in regional commerce. Trump is also working to renegotiate multiple trade agreements such as NAFTA, which risks international retaliation, potentially causing tariff wars. In regards to security, Trump's America First policy poses potential risks to foreign diplomacy, as other states could interpret the U.S. withdrawal as a license to pursue other policy goals. The problem is not that the U.S. is no longer the international policeman, but now the U.S. is trying to land better deals with allies. The network of allies that the United States has is what separates us from other great powers, and potentially trying to land better deals with allies could cause them to pull away from us. These allies provide us with many aids, such as overseas bases, military support, and cost reduction of U.S. operations. Whether the decline of foreign diplomacy will be the reason for the end of Pax Americana or not, all paxes come to a close. The success of Pax Americana is thanks to our ability to find balance between maintaining privilege, while also assuring sufficient global benefits to get other countries to contribute to the system. Thank you.